get us to think below the surface of what causes mental illness. And then if we want to create a mentally healthy society, what do we have to do? And hopefully we can have discussions about that as the day goes on. And this is just comparing people who had been removed or not removed from their family as part of the stolen generation. And not surprisingly, being removed would be bad for your mental health, or having relatives who'd been removed. And then this is looking at another factor, looking at unemployment. And the big peak in people reporting psychological distress is people who are long-term unemployed. And you can see that being long-term unemployed is worse for your mental health than short-term unemployment. So what happens to you in your social environment and economic environment really affects your mental health. What accounts for these patterns? Is it individual failings? Is it community failings? Is it structural factors?
One of the things that's inescapable is that people with a mental illness, and therefore their carers, are treated in a very unequal way in our community. The fact that some people with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, die up to 25 years earlier than their peers in our community, that's a pretty terminal difference and a pretty terminal inequality that exists. One of the Australian sayings that I love more than any other is, give everybody a fair go. And the inequality that exists for people with a mental illness in not getting a fair go is extreme and un-Australian.
So poverty. Well, 3 million people in Australia are living on or below the poverty line. How does being poor threaten your mental health? It creates insecurity, which equals anxiety for most people, the stress and humiliation of dealing with welfare agencies. And this week I came across an account by a woman called Jane Gilmore, and she had fallen into poverty when she never expected to. I learned very quickly how frightening it is to be poor. Rent is due on the 1st of every month. As the weeks track by, I'm falling further and further from the amount I need. I feel sicker and sicker. We're down to eating rice and frozen vegetables.
There's been a mainstreaming of the conversation about mental wellbeing in Australia, but it's often the most privileged people that talk about it. There's a lot of initiatives for people to improve their wellbeing if they're already privileged, but the structural inequalities that give rise to mental illness are very rarely talked about.
What makes a difference? What can we do? We need to think about the two main areas, the micro, the person-to-person stuff that we can do, and the macro, what is it that we can do at the government policy, straight advocacy level. At the macro level, we have incredible power.
Take that move, recognise that politicians are just people, and contact them and say, this is what I'm concerned about.
But you must not just go with the problem. Give them the solution.
Instead of as a present having to persuade politicians that something needs doing, we would hopefully be in a position to elect politicians who already shared our values and aims.
Change is possible, and all I've heard today is grassroots approach. It needs to start with the community, and I think that's like something that I already knew, but something that holds more weight than what we think it does.
Organisations have to stop what they're doing. We're maintaining the status quo in what we're doing. You know, we dance around the word stigma. Stuff it. There's no such thing as stigma, it's discrimination, and that's illegal. And whether it's straight out discrimination or subtle discrimination or any other form of alienation or separation from the community to which we normally ought to belong, it's illegal. So stop pussyfooting, start being the real you, you've got blood coursing in your veins. That means you're an advocate. You understand people have rights, so why are we selling them short?